All right, guys, we're going to look at the area of a net of a pyramid and a square prism. So let's look at some of these notes. Go ahead and sign in. So the big thing we're looking at today is surface area. We're going to find total surface area. And total surface area is important for many different reasons, but one example is painters use surface area to figure out how much paint they need to buy to paint the walls. So when you're covering surface area, you're no longer just covering one wall, you're covering all of the walls. And before, when you would find area, it was just of one shape. But now it's going to be of every single wall of a 3D shape. So here's a prism right here. If you look right here, this is what you're used to seeing a prism. But now, if you take it apart and unfold it, it looks like this guy right here. So this is unfolded, and then this is the prism folded back up. A 3D rectangular prism can be unfolded to create a flat 2D shape called the net of the prism. And we can find the total surface area of the prism, the area of all the faces added together. So we're going to practice finding the area of each face separately, and then we're going to add them together. So for this one, if you look at the original prism, now here's the one that they took apart and they put what each piece had. So this one was an 8 times 5, so that was the bottom. Here's the top. Right here, 8 times 5. There's the top, 8 times 5. Then we have the sides, 8 times 4 and 8 times 4. And then the other side's 4 times 5 and 4 times 5. Then we're going to add it all together. And we end up with a total surface area of 184. Then we can do the same thing with a square pyramid. So what happens here is your shape, you'll notice here on the bottom, it's a square, and these are rectangles. And remember, rectangles, you find the area of a rectangle the same way as a square here, triangle, excuse me, a triangle. You find a triangle the same way as a square, except you have to divide it by 2 because it's a triangle. So if you look at the dimensions here, they did the 8 times 8, and then the 8 times 10 for the height, and then they divided it by 2. So they had one of the 8 times 8, and then they had 4 of the 8 times 10 divided by 2 to get a total of 224. So let's practice them together. So now this shape, if I'm looking, it's got a 5 here, it's got a 10 and an 8. So I'm going to start here with this square in the middle. So this says the net of a square pyramid and its dimensions are shown in the diagram. What is the total surface area of the pyramid in square feet? So if I look at this square here, I see that this is a 5 times 5. So if I work out 5 times 5, I get 25. So this square in here, this one right here, shade it in. This one, 5 times 5 is 25. Put it in a different color. So that's the first piece. Now I got to do these triangles. And the nice thing is that if once I do one triangle, then that's enough and I can just repeat it 4 times. So let me go back. So now the height of my triangle is 8. And my base of my triangle right here, so I'm looking at this triangle. The height was 8. My base is 5. It was this 5 from earlier. So 8 times 5. And 8 times 5 is 40. But because it's a triangle, I have to divide it by 2. So the area of this triangle is 20. So this one is 20. This one is 20. This one is 20. And this one is 20. This 10 here is an extra number. You don't need it. It's called a distractor. It's meant to confuse you. You don't need that number. It's extra. So now all I have to do is add all of my areas up. So I have the 25. plus 20, 40, 60, 80. And if you don't know where that 80 came from, this 80 right here, I added the 20 4 times, and that was for the 4 triangles. So 25 plus 80 is 105. So that's going to be what you type in here. Let's try the next one. So this one, we're going to do it the same way. So I'm going to start with my square in the middle. So I see that this square in here, right here, this square, is a 5 times 5 again. So it's the same formula. That was a 5 down here. Let me rewrite it so you can see it. 5 times 5. So that square is 5 times 5, and that's 25. And then here now, I'm looking at this triangle right here. The triangle has a 4. It's got a height of 4. And my base right here, that's the 5. So I'm going to do 4 times 5, which is 20. But because it's a triangle, I have to divide by 2. So 10. So that means that this one is 10, this one is 10, this one is 10, and so is this one. So now I can add everything up to find my total surface area. So I have the 25, and then I have 10, 20, 30, 40. And if you don't know where the 40 came from, that is from these 4 triangles, 4 times 10. 25 plus 40 is 65, and that is my total surface area. All right, let's try another one. So this one has more pieces. So the net of a triangular prism and its dimensions are shown in the diagram. What is the total surface area of the prism in square centimeters? So this one, like I said, it has more pieces, but we just have to go piece by piece and figure out the area of each piece. So this first piece right here, this is a 1 times 3. And I know 1 times 3 is 3. So the first one I did was a 1 times 3. And I got 3. And I see that over here as well. That's a 3. So I'm just going to repeat it here. 1 times 3 is 3. And let me write it again. 1 times 3 is 3. So that covers these 2 pieces. So now I'm going to do this one right here. So this one has a 4. And then its side, you see how there's a 1 here? Well, that means that there's also a 1 here. This side here is the same as this side here. So now I can do 4 times 1. And that's 4. So that means that this piece in here is 4. So now I have a 3, and a 4. And now I need my triangles. Well, my triangle on the bottom here, this was a 4. And that's because right here, there was a 4 here. There was a 4 here. It's not from the 4 times 1. It's because that was the length of this one. This one was 4, which means this one is also 4. So my height is going to be 2 times 4 for my triangle, which is 8. But again, it's a triangle. In triangles, you have to divide by 2. So that's a 4. So that means that this piece here, this ends up being a 4. And then this triangle here, this is the same. So that ends up being a 4. So I have another 4. Another 4. So I should be adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me add them up now. 4, there's 3 4s, so 4 plus 4 plus 4, or 4 times 3 is 12. That takes care of these guys. And then 3 and 3 is 6. And now I can add those together. So I end up with an area of 18. The last one, I'm going to do the same way. So on this one, I'm looking at 1 times 2.5. Except now it has a decimal, but that's okay. You still do it the same way. So this is going to be 2.5. And then I have the same thing over here. 1 times 2.5. Which is 2.5. And write that on this one. So these two faces here are 2.5. And then I need to do, I'm going to do this one here. So this one is the 3. It's got a 3 here times the 1. That's a 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. So that's this piece here. Now I need these triangles. So this triangle has a base of 3 and a height of 3. So I'm going to do 3 times 3 divided by 2. 3 times 3 is 9. And divided by 2, that's 4.5. So that means that this triangle here is 4.5. And then that would be this one down here as well, because this is the same triangle. So I should have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers I'm adding. So here's 1, 2.5. Here's another 2.5. So when I add those two faces together, that's 5. So that takes care of this one and this one. Now I need to add the 3. So that's 8. And now I need to add the 4.5. And then this last 4.5. I need to make sure I add every single face. So the total surface area for this one should be 17. You guys are going to continue, and then your assignment tomorrow is going to be very similar to this.